What's up, everyone? So we are here today at San Bruno Mountain Ridge Trail. It is the late afternoon, and we're going to be climbing up this mountain ridge right over here. So if you're not familiar, this is located on the peninsula side of the Bay Area, and I'm here with Ozzy right now. This is his first time coming up here. I've already been here once before for a photo competition where Oliver and I we went up this mountain ridge during sunset. I already made a couple of videos about it, doing some editing tutorials as for like the start to finish edit as well as some masking, so I'll drop those in the end card in the video below. But this time around, I have come back with a mission to shoot this particular photo that I couldn't do last time because I didn't have the proper lens for it. I have the 70-200 with me. I'll show you a little bit more about like the hike along the way as well as just what to expect when we're up there. But I do want to just talk about a little bit more, not only about the photo aspect of it and the camera settings and like the photos, but at the same time, just like the concept of hidden gems, which we will talk about a little bit more later on in this video. So initial thoughts, Ozzy?
Hidden word is key gems here. Hidden gems. Gems that should be hidden. So this is, as you can see, there's nobody behind us. There's just one car in the parking lot. And please keep it that way, because if not, then we're not going to be able to get the shot.
So we have a couple of different philosophies that we're going to talk about along the way too. So we'll get a little bit more. But first, we got to get up the mountain too. Sunset is about like 6:30, but probably going to set a little bit earlier. But let's get right onto it. So we'll see you then. All right, my friends. So we're at the start of the trailhead right over here. So as you can see, this lovely gate is blocking the way. Definitely don't recommend it for any mountain bikers unless you're really crazy like that. Really nice hike, but it's going to be a little bit of like loose gravel kind of situation. So bring yourself some really nice hiking shoes right over here. Got the Merrell Moabs. Gotta show them off. My legs are a little bit cooked because I did a 40-mile bike ride just yesterday. So we're gonna see how long it takes me and Ozzy to go up this mountain ridge trail. So to help us verify that, that's why you do it on Strava. If it didn't happen on Strava, then it didn't happen at all. So let's get started, my friends. So for reference, there's the homie Ozzy, and I'm shooting at 15 millimeters right now. These tower lines are massive, so you can see it way off in the distance, but we're trying to go right over here. So this is definitely not for the faint of heart. If you have a brave heart or you're just crazy, head on up here because the views are spectacular. Checking Strava, we are 0.26 miles up this mountain ridge trail, which in time, that is taking us about like 11 minutes right now. It is getting a little bit windy right here, so apologies for that. However, we still have a lot more of trail to head up. Nonetheless, as treacherous as this view is heading up the trail, as we look over towards the bay side and toward the city, we can see Salesforce Tower. We can see all of the Bay Area. It's just really beautiful here so far, and we kind of got lucky in the sense that Carl the Fog isn't rolling up. However, I will say this time around, because we have so many more clouds and overcast just in general today compared to the last time I went to, I would say it provides a little bit more shade, a little bit more protection from the sun, because the sun, like up here on like a very bright exposure day, it will burn your skin off. But I was really hoping for no clouds today, because even though we trade off burning our skin off for some really nice sunshine, I will say just the views on like a really clear day are just absolutely immaculate. I'll show you a little bit more as we head up to the mountain trail, but we gotta keep on going. We're only 12 minutes in now. Let's go. We are here now. It is absolutely still beautiful as I remember it to be. Granted, there is like a lot of overcast. When the last time I went, it was just a blue sky day and everything was just like super illuminated, which is absolutely great because that also made way for the sunset to bleed right on through. and just coat everything in like a nice yellow orangey tinge over here. As we can see on this side of the bay side, we have Salesforce Tower, San Francisco, and then over here we have Carl the Fog. Can't really see him, but right where my pinky is. And yeah, audio is gonna be really screwy right now, but we'll make do with what we got. I'm an outdoor bro. I am a very warm outdoor bro right now. Yeah, that makes life a lot easier. This is the shot that I'm looking for exactly. I have Salesforce Tower right on my left-hand side or right on your right-hand side. I did bring my 70 to 200 lens over here, so that way I can get a little bit more of like a sniper shot, more of a compressed shot overall. I'm looking for a landscape one in particular. Going to be shooting at a higher than usual aperture as well as ISO, and a little bit more of like a slower shutter speed, so that way we can get a little bit more of the light in. But the point is, the idea is that once the light starts to bleed in more from the sunset, if we can get a really good lucky break in the clouds, then it's going to coat the buildings in like this really nice orangey yellow tint, and that way it mixes in really well with the blues overall. So hopefully I get the shot. If we don't, then hey, we got a really good hike out of it and we got an adventure. But on my right hand side, as you can see, Carl the Fog, or your left hand side, Carl the Fog is rolling in and it's going to be swallowing up that tower in the very far off distance. I don't recall the name of it off the top of my head as my brain is being frozen right over here. I call that a brain freeze. But yes, we're going to set up right now. We're going to bust out the 7200 and then we're going to take some really nice shots and see what we make out of this too. By the way too, I will also show the bay side, the south side. There is going to be a landing strip, that being SFO. So if you want to get some really cool long range shots of planes passing by, there's a place to do it. San Bruno Mountain Ridge Trail. You get a really nice 360 degree view. And I will talk a little bit more about hidden gems once things die down a little bit in terms of the wind audio, but we're probably gonna have to segment that in another section later on in the video. So what I'm trying to do is just capture some scenes of the local just scenery right over here. Just taking some nice shots of like the planes rolling in as well as just the fog rolling in, because if you can see like right over here to my right hand side, there's just so much fog rolling in, and I think Carl's like being a little bit more aggressive than usual right now, but it's absolutely dope. But just want to make sure that we don't get caught up in this kind of fog over here, because by all means, like, it could swallow up the mountain. I don't even know. I just haven't been in conditions like this before, but it's absolutely beautiful. So we just want to make sure that we get down at an appropriate time too. But overall, like, looks like because the fog is rolling in too, the sun is not going to be hitting the buildings as expected, but we're still going to make the most of what we do so far. Overall, I am using manual settings as for now, and I'll show you a little bit more in the video later on, just like how we film things and just set up for the shots. But man, it is just absolutely amazing.
What's going on, guys? We just finished the hike right now. We are actually on our way down. Overall thoughts, I would say come well prepared with enough sunlight, because you do have to take enough breaks to get up here. Think of Mission Peak if you're from the area, instead of just kind of like a slow ascend. It just hits you like a tow truck, and there's a lot of wind, so bring layers for sure. Here to talk about hidden gems is your host.
Here I am talking about hidden gems with our one and only Ozzy. So Ozzy and I were talking about this on the way up to the mountain ridge, and thankfully, like we are protected by the natural features, so that way the wind is not too aggressive as we're just directly on top of it. So something I did want to pose is just like the concept of hidden gems too. I feel like the concept of hidden gems is just like, in a way, used incorrectly or just used in such a way where it's meant to just really drive hype, influence, and just really engagement and exposure. I feel like when it comes to the hidden gems, my personal thoughts about it is that, and I'll introduce a book that I used to read as a kid, really a series. So if you're not familiar with Geronimo Stone, it's a story about like a dude who is a mouse and he goes on crazy adventures. I'll take it a step further. Think about it like Indiana Jones bookworm, but essentially like this guy in the very first like opening novels, he went on a trip to see this like Emerald Eye. Now it involved going to an island, and I will spoil this for you guys. But if you don't want to, then just go ahead and skip this entire video section. But essentially, like they find the Emerald Eye, where it turns out it's the entire island itself, and it's not this like tangible thing that you can hold or that you can hold. Rather, like as they were flying overhead of the island, they just saw like how lush and green the natural features were, and that's how I kind of like think about it. Like this mountain range, not really in particular, but just the concept of hidden gems in general, where it's like it doesn't have to be like this really grand adventure. It can just like really be like say an hour ride from my home up to this mountain ridge trail, and here we are seeing like these 360 degree views of the Bay Area lit up at like blue hour, golden hour, and I'll show you a little bit more. But the city right now to my left hand side is just lighting up, and all its pretty street lights. So really nice orange, yellow, blue contrast. Got to throw out the photography stuff out there too. But yeah, I feel like with hidden gems, I feel like it's okay to share that. Um, by all means, like I want that to be a focus of this channel too. It's not to really gatekeep things, but at the same time, like just show you what expectation versus reality is, and that way you're much more better prepared about what you're heading into. So I'll give to Ozzy so that way he can go ahead and share his ideas about hidden gems. Just we can have a little bit more of a coffee chat about that.
Hidden gems, should they stay hidden or should they be shared with everybody else? I think, in all honesty, if you hear about something, then pass it on by word of mouth, but don't post about it. Don't, post on Instagram that it's such a great place that you'll find flowers of all sorts of colors, green eggs and ham, and all that good stuff. I think just if you know a place, share it. If you know type concept, then you know. But I don't think hidden gems should be gate kept necessarily to that extent. I think it should be open to everybody, but you just got to know,
To build off my dude's earlier point, yes, I do. Like, I mean, I do agree. Where it's like when it comes to social media, I feel like things can be a little bit oversaturated or even misconstrued in such a way where it's like, hey, I'm trying to like, and not to say like this is to signal like a certain kind of person, like a particular person, but just like more so the persona. It's like, yes, like it's important to be able to share like what it is that like you love and you enjoy doing, and like open up the world to like, hey, like some really cool things that we have in store, because like the world's a big place. You got to go out and explore it. But at the same time, it's like definitely share like what things that you can expect and like how they match up with reality. Like I think Ozzy and I had like a really good experience last week when we went to Lily Valley, and over there, like in contrast to like what you see on social media, Google Images and all that good jazz, like being there out in the trenches in Lily Valley, like it's so beautiful. But at the same time, like there were hella people, aka hella people valley, and yeah, as beautiful as it is, like you just got to be able to. Well, I'm getting a little bit off track. It could be a little bit more of a rant, but the point being is that like show what it is that how you interpret it to be. I think that's important because that adds a level of like originality and style to like what you're experiencing. But at the same time, like I would suggest don't advertise it more than what it is, and then show the reality portion of it. I think that just sets people up better more for success. That is my thoughts on the matter. It is really cold right now, and I'm also like kind of hungry, so I think it's best if we start going down right now, but not before I show you this really cool view of the city. Unless there's some last parting thoughts by our one and only.
You just got to take a look at the view. I mean, that's the parting thought. Look at the view. It's amazing. City is amazing.
We'll show you the view right now. Go. Okay. All right. This is how I'm composing my shot right now. If you want to go ahead and take a look over my shoulder over here, I have the 70-200 lens set up right now. I have ISO 100 because I don't want any noise introduced to it, and I have f16, and then I have a shutter speed of 10 with a 2-second shutter. After I click on the shutter, it's going to take the picture. Now, the way that I'm setting this up is that I'm using manual focus because I figured that when it comes to taking a just direct, clear-cut shot, I find that still like a little bit too simple. I like to have something with a little bit more texture to it, so that's why I like to use the manual focus slider over here, so that way it gets like a nice little bokeh balls going on. Now I feel like that adds not only a little bit more texture, but like this reminds me of some of the animes that I just like seeing throughout the years, and it's just like those moments where like two characters or a single character, it's just like overlooking the city, just really looking at it for what it is and how beautiful it is. Like that's just the feeling that I want to capture, as well as just like the views that I see and interpret it on something that's so familiar. So if you're from the Bay Area, you might be like, hey, like this seems vaguely similar. Otherwise, if you're not, you're like, why are there like a bunch of like little like out of focus balls on the screen? What the hell does this mean? But I would say overall it's impressionistic to me and I love it, and this is something that I like to go for. Before I end off the video, I just want to do a little bit of a round off section, just talking a little bit more about the photography concepts as well as just composition of using the 70-200 lens in relation to some of my shots, and additionally just end off with talking about like hidden gems and just reinforcing some of my ideas there. So to start things off, I would say that overall, the mission of using the 70-200 lens and just capturing some really cool shots of the city, definitely a mission accomplished. Because it's my second time around, I was not expecting conditions to be as good as they were in the video. Granted, there was cold piercing winds, but we also had a special guest appearance in the form of Carl the Fog. So just seeing Carl roll up and swallow the mountain, as well as just like the city in general, I thought that was just absolutely cool. And I took a couple shots of just Carl, like, you know, doing Carl things, and I'll throw up a couple of pictures right now too, one of which was like totally not scripted, no paid actors whatsoever. We had this solo hiker just hiking by themselves and just kind of facing out towards nature, and I was like, damn, like this guy's like really out here defying nature like that, or Carl. But yeah, it was really cool for what it is, and just in addition to some of those shots, and as well as just the b-roll of just Carl like swallowing up like some of these like cell towers, we got some really cool photos of the cityscape itself. So two of which that I walked away really happy with were one of the city, not lit up completely, but it was just like kind of in that lull before like all the lights start to light up, and then blue hour just started to roll in and like swallow up the city. I feel like it really exposes it for like a really cold environment for what it is, which it totally is, but at the same time I just feel like it's that moment before everything lights up, and I felt like it was like capturing a still moment in time, then transitioning into when the lights lit up at night. I just thought it was absolutely cool. I didn't want to take on a straight up shot, clear shot of the cityscape at night, because I wanted something a little bit more textured, not something a little bit more vanilla, better put. I used the manual focus feature on and switched it off from autofocus on the 70-200 lens, and still went for a long range exposure shot, so that way I can get more of the light captured because it was quite dark at that time. But at the same time, I feel like going for that kind of bokeh texture shot, it just reminds me of those scenes in anime where like maybe two characters or like a single person are like on top of a high vantage point and just having this moment of reflection over the city and just lit up at night. And I thought it was like a little bit more sentimental, as well as just like it reminded me of like a dream that, you know, you're experiencing but you don't want to wake up from because it just looks so amazing, but eventually like you got to open your eyes. But with that in mind, like it was just a really cool cityscape shot, and I just feel like the bokeh adds a lot of texture to it. The other topic that I want to talk about was just hidden gems, because Ozzy and I had a really good conversation on the way up the mountain, like to the mountain, and on the way up in the mountain, as well as just like on the mountain itself. But hidden gems, I feel like when it comes to using that term, I feel like that's a term that's just like thrown out more often than it should be. I feel like a hidden gem is something that's like, it doesn't have to be like something really big or grand or just like secretive. It can be something where it's like, hey, like
an hour away from my own home and just seeing these like amazing views of the Bay Area, like of a place that I've lived in for 27 years, and now I'm only experiencing this for like the second time around. But kind of relating it back to my Geronimo Stone example, it doesn't have to be anything grand. It could just be like in a way hidden in plain sight. It's just a matter of like, as cheesy as it sounds, stop and smell the roses, or just like take the time to go out and explore and just like take it all in. But yeah, I feel like when it comes to hidden gems, it's a term that's like in a way used a lot. I don't want to use this term as like to drive hype or attention or romanticize or even advertise a place more than what it is, because I mean, a recent example I can share that Ozzy and I encountered was just Kala Lily Valley. Granted, conditions weren't as good as they were, or we could have set ourselves up better for success, but at the same time, like, seeing things on social media versus reality, I feel like once you start to bridge those gaps of like, hey, this is what it looks like when it's void of people, and this is what it looks like when like, hey, you can expect hella people to come in, I feel like that just sets people up better for success too. When it comes to hidden gems, I don't think that locations should be gatekept. I feel like, and with this channel too, hidden gems should be like, this channel I want to use more as like a gateway to sharing with you and taking you guys along the way to like places I've been and explored. By all means, like when things are shared on social media, I feel like that's when it stops being a hidden gem, because now it's like going to catch like wildfire, and as people do, like they're gonna start to put their own input and take on it, which is totally awesome and fine. Share it for what it is, don't advertise it more for what it is, but at the same time, like, hey, like if you have a destination in mind, go ahead and share it. I think the world's a big beautiful place, and that we should be out there touching more grass instead of staying inside of our homes. Additionally, I feel like when it comes to Ozzy's point of like sharing things through word of mouth, I think that's really cool too. You definitely got to be in the know to know, and I feel like that makes a certain place a little bit more special, and I would say now starts to define something as a little bit more of a hidden gem, because like it's not as like widely advertised, but hey, the moment it's put on social media, it catches wildfire. I don't think it is classified more as a hidden gem at this point. But with that in mind, hope you guys really liked the video and like the topics that we discuss. If you do, definitely give a like, comment, and subscribe. But with that in mind, I will go ahead and drop a couple of videos of some of the editing tutorials that I took in relation to this mountain that I mentioned way earlier on in this video right now. And with that in mind, I hope you guys enjoy the video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Until then, my friends, peace out.